What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Alpha Trades crypto market update. Today, we're going to be talking about the high-level overview of Bitcoin and of altcoins. We're specifically going to focus on how the DeFi blue chip altcoins have fared and now which ones are coming up. So let's get started. First things first, make sure you hit the thumbs up on this YouTube video. It would be greatly appreciated. And make sure you join our Advantage membership, which is on our website, thealphatrades.com. Hit the products page right here, $97 per month. You get access to all our private channels here in Discord, our private Discord. And you can see all the updates that we provide on a day-to-day basis here in the Bitcoin analysis channel, all the stuff that we talk about, altcoin analysis channel, all the different things that we mention regarding different altcoins, and many other things, right? And many other channels, as you could see. We're a very, very active community. If you want to stay up to date in a 24/7 market in crypto that moves incredibly fast, this is the kind of community that you want to be in, okay? So, make sure you join, make sure you at least hit the thumbs up so you can get some free content. Make sure you hit subscribe. So today what we're going to start off with is our 5K count challenge. Okay. In this 5K count right here, one of the things that we've done from the beginning of the year is we started off with $5,000 at December 30th, 2020, and we've steadily grown that since. Okay, as you can see over the last few months, we've grown it. And as of yesterday, we currently sit on this account at $38,000. We've done a tremendous job, in my opinion, at growing this account steadily. And I believe we are going to continue to grow it steadily by the end of this year and even beginning of next year. And I'm so incredibly excited for all those people who have joined me on this journey for the past year, and hopefully who join me for the rest of the journey for the remainder of this year and next year, because there is still a lot of upside left in the crypto markets, in my opinion. But I want to discuss the near-term effects of what's going on, okay? First things first, if you check out my Twitter feed, right, there's a big thread that I wrote from the macro perspective of what's happening in stocks and crypto and why I'm really bullish for the next few years. Okay, you can check this out. All right, I'm going to retweet it right now so you can check it out and give me your thoughts. Let me know what you think, right? Comment on this, comment on the YouTube video. Let me know what you think, because I took the time to review the markets from not only a macro perspective, the Fed perspective, interest rates, what's going on in crypto market cap, S&P 500, NASDAQ, etc. But I took the time to explain why things happening within the inflation side of the world, things happening within the supply chain crisis that we're having around the world is actually fueling innovation rather than suppressing it. Because what's really happening is supply chains being disrupted and not able to fulfill the demands of consumers is having a rapid expansion towards technology and robotics and more building of those supply chains. Okay. And that's where innovation is coming in. That's where more technologies are getting involved and more technologies are actually increasing and appreciating from this issue. Okay. So anyway, point is, make sure you check out this thread. I find it very informative. And I talk about, why I'm bullish on particular assets, why I'm bullish on certain stocks, etc. Near term, here's kind of what we have though. Okay. I talked about this just yesterday. Just my overall look on the market, right? First things first, we were sitting right around $67,200. Currently, we're at $68,200 and some change. You would think that, okay, we've broken through previous all-time high. We should just keep ripping on up. I think personally, there's a very high chance that we keep pressing on up, but there's also a chance that even if BTC pops up and maybe say gets to 68, 70,000, it rolls over, there's a chance, a moderately high chance that we could do, something like this right here back in February or something like this here in January as a sharp sell-off. Okay. And we might come back inside this previous all-time high towards, I don't know, 63,000, 58,000, 52,000, something like that. Okay. So these are the things that you want to keep in mind, because here's what's happening near term. Okay. Funding rates still extremely high. Why are funding rates important? Because it tells you about the overall increase in open interest, increase in perpetual contracts that are going into the market. Okay. That means that people are actually longing a lot more on everything. Okay. On Bitcoin, Ethereum, BCH, XRP, Solana, Link, everything. Okay. And that's why funding rates are elevated across the board, because everyone is very bullish and they want to keep longing their longs. Okay. And what does that show you? Well, that shows us that open interest, as you can see right here, has gone up tremendously. We are actually at new all-time highs of open interest. This is open interest of all coins, right? Not just Bitcoin, but it is of Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana, and basically, you know, what all these exchanges track. So you could see we are at new all-time highs. Here was a high in April that we rolled off from all the way into June and July right here. We rolled off from almost a 13 billion high of open interest. Remember, open interest is nothing but contracts that are open from longs and shorts that are going into the market as perpetual contracts, as future contracts. Okay. Here is how much the futures contracts or open interest rolled off. It rolled off by more than 50% from this high to this low. So now that we're at new all-time highs, does that mean it might happen again? Maybe, right? Maybe it might happen again, okay? But it's not necessary that it has to happen now. And it's not necessary that it has to happen by 50%. It may happen by 20, 30%, but it might still press up higher and then roll over. What I'm trying to imply is, as funding rates are elevated, okay, as the market is bullish and as the open interest is extremely high, this is probably the formula where you need to start being careful in the market with levered positions. It is totally okay to have a bullish bias on the market. It is totally okay to just be spot long in the market. And guess what? That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm spot long in the market. But as of right now, I don't see any reason or purpose for me to put on levered positions, especially in altcoins like Ethereum or Solana, or, you know, all these coins that have been run up quite a bit. Maybe BTC might be, you know, one asset that we might consider, but even then, it's kind of a risky bet. Okay. By the way, just FYI, as we're getting to the new all-time highs right here. Okay. So this is around $68,700. I just want to keep this in mind. All right. So we've now hit a new all-time high in BTC. All we really want to do here, okay, is stay above this high now. You want to stay above this high because collapsing back down inside this previous high will quite possibly bring us back here around 67,128. Okay. But as of late, one thing that I've noticed in BTC is that it is basically taking no prisoners in terms of upside. If you're looking for deep pullbacks, you're not getting them, right? Here's a perfect example. I was looking for a pullback somewhere here. Why? Because this was previous capped resistance, resistance, resistance right here. Should have turned into support, right? It should have. Not necessarily that it has to, but it should have. Now, obviously, this is what BTC is doing, right? It went up, pulled back quickly, and went up again. Okay. So once again, when Bitcoin is in this, you know, very aggressive bullish mode, it really doesn't give you deep pullbacks. On top of that, on a daily basis, there's also a level that's untested and that's been left behind, which is this little pocket right here. Okay. Like this, you know, we kind of left this little pocket right here as untested SR. Okay. Support and resistance flip. And I was also thinking that at some point when we were over here grinding up, I thought we would have a quick nuke and then pop back up like this. So when BTC leaves levels like this behind, I'll tell you guys right now, more often than not, okay, statistically, more often than not, these levels tend to get filled. You just don't know how they're going to get filled. All right. So anyway, even if we miss these, it's okay because we can always go long, you know, with good risk reward trades. Like for example, right now, if we're not getting any pullbacks, well, then this is your trade right here. You got to have your stop there. And then your target profit, first one obviously is going to be 70,000. And then my big target profit is around 75 to 80K. All right. That's the only way to go about it, really. Other than that, I mean, I don't really see any reason why, I don't know. I don't see any reason why Bitcoin should come back any deeper unless it's going to actually start nuking. Okay. From here, I mean, if it stays above this high, it's game time. It's 70,000, 75, maybe even 80K. Okay. So, just keep that in mind. All right. So we talked about global charge. We talked about the funding rates being elevated. Now, the other thing I'm going to mention is just sort of a weekly basis, right? Here's kind of what we're coming into. On a weekly basis, there are assets like Link, which are very nicely sort of trending up. Okay. This is a very, very good movement from Link. All right. We just need to close above this area on Link. But what I will say is, let's just say something like Solana. Okay. Big fan of Solana, right? Here's something that's going on a Solana monthly basis that's slightly concerning to me. First of all, higher highs on the chart, right? In terms of volume, in terms of candles, but then lower highs on the volume right there. That's a bit concerning to me. Okay. AVAX. Okay. Let's go to the weekly. Again, pretty decent, substantial drop off in volume here. Obviously, we still have 20 days left in the month, so anything can happen here. But here's how things kind of look on the weekly, right? Weekly, we've kind of, put in this sideways movement, lots of volume slope down. Now you're having this movement up, but then really no increase in volume. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is because we want to be aware of what's happening in the market, right? We want to be aware of what's happening from a macro perspective of volume analysis on a weekly basis, how our candles looking, all the good stuff. Okay. So as of right now, I'm not seeing the kind of movement and the kind of conviction that I want to see on a daily and weekly basis from these assets. Okay. Even on a daily basis, I think AVAX is kind of struggling around here. Maybe it has to retest the $79, $80 area. Maybe it goes in a little bit deeper, right? So these are the things that I'm looking forward to. If we do get a retest to the downside, I would see, maybe AVAX comes down into like $65, $70, right? As a potential retest. Maybe Solana comes back. Solana, I actually had expectations to maybe dip a little bit deeper, like 180, 190, somewhere in here, just so it can kind of do, it shows you that, oh, okay, it looks like it's breaking out, but then it slowly comes back in, does something like that, and then pops up, right? We are very used to, in the crypto space, when we have breakouts, right? Back in the day, I mean, when you had a breakout, like you were just starting to rip, when you had a big breakout, for example, like here in, what's it called? 2020, right? Once we broke past, was it 20,000? I mean, we just never looked back. We just took off. Well, as of late, what's been happening with breakouts is there's a lot of people involved and the open interest is extremely high. So the market has to kind of calm itself down. The market has to weed out these participants. And what you have then is a situation where you break above the previous all-time high, collapse back down inside, spend like 1 to 2 weeks consolidating, and then start another leg up, right? You'll see this quite a bit, by the way, okay? Because it just goes to show you that the market itself is feeling a little heavy at the highs, right? So when it feels a little heavy at the highs, meaning there's maybe a little bit too much sell pressure or not enough buy pressure, well, then this is the circumstances that give markets that choppy, volatile movement where you do some kind of stuff like this, like that. And then eventually, once you've retested key levels, then you start breaking out maybe a couple of weeks, couple of months later. Not to say that it has to happen again the same way. I'm just mentioning to you that it might, happen where it might be choppy for a little while for not only BTC, but altcoins as well. The other thing that I want to mention, which I told my Advantage members about a few days ago, is some of the really good assets, like, especially in the L1 ecosystem, like these, okay? So DeFi blue chips, Rune, BNB, AVAX, Solana, Polkadot, FTM, right? This is another one that I'm gonna mark out. right? All these assets that are in the green labels, okay, these are all L1 ecosystems. They've gone up tremendously over the year, right? I mean, they've really, really taken off. So what do we have now? Well, we have assets that I don't think have that much significant upside in the near term. Again, in the near term, I believe that they are overextended and they are overbought, meaning that money has to now rotate to assets that are underappreciated and underbought. Okay, and that could be a new generation of assets. It could be these, or it could be, maybe just a rotation into things like Compound or Aave or Curve Finance, right? All these different assets that have a lot of activity on their networks, that have built a lot. Even something like 1inch, which is a DEX, or Sushi, which is a DEX, which has done tremendous volume, tremendous revenue. These are very underappreciated and underowned assets. Okay, so maybe the next leg of the market could be a rotation away from things like Solana and BNB and Rune and Polkadot, and maybe into these things like Sushi, maybe even Step Finance, right? It could be even Cardano, because maybe Cardano has not gone up as much, even though Cardano is not doing anything as a network. But if it's underbought and oversold at this point, maybe that's the asset that gets marked up. Okay, so I'm just thinking from the perspective of what exactly is an asset that's been run up too much, and what is an asset that's doing good utility for users, good volume, a lot of revenue, and that is not really run up. And it could be things like Aave, and it could be things like Sushi and 1inch and Step Finance, or Curve Finance, etc. Okay. And then there's these other newer assets that I've kind of got my eye on, right? OVR, which I mentioned a couple of days ago, Cadena, Olympus DAO, which we've written an article on, GSwap, GameSwap, which is one of the assets that you could trade gaming assets on. Okay, PYR, right? YGG, Guild Games, Wilder World, right? Spell, PlayModal, UFO Gaming, Frac Shares, Woo Network. These are all newer assets that, as we head into 2022, who knows, maybe these assets are the ones that are underappreciated. Okay, so I just want to put these assets on your radar so we as a community can pay attention to them. All right, and I definitely will do my best to find the research and write about new articles and everything that we are seeing that is a potential new shiny object for 2022. And we're going to do a damn good job at basically, finding that alpha, growing our accounts into 2022. Obviously, none of what I provide in terms of analysis and information is financial advice, but I'm going to do my best to give you guys the most up-to-date information that I could find. Other things that are happening, obviously, meme coins, Floki, Shiba Inu, Samoyed, and Floof. These are all meme coins. If you're interested, you can focus on these. Again, I have no interest in trading meme coins, but I'm just letting y'all know for those of you who are interested. Okay, so keep an eye on these, and then of course these assets as well. I think that's all I have in terms of information. We did write, by the way, a very, very long and thorough article on Thorchain, which is going to be, one of our key focuses for rest of 2021 and then going into 2022. And Rune has been on our radar ever since the hack happened, right? I mean, we spoke about Rune way the heck back here. I've been talking about Rune, why I still believe it's a phenomenal network, because most people don't quite understand that Rune is doing amazing things that other ecosystems are really not. They're basically bringing as much Bitcoin to their network for swapping, basically creating the ability for the Bitcoin hodlers to get into the DeFi game. And that is very unique, in my opinion. I think Rune is doing that very well. So even when they got hacked back here, I mean, they're still doing a tremendous job so far, right? They're up almost 4x from these lows. So anyway, just something to keep in mind. Rune as an asset you want to look into, you want to read about it. The thread is on our Twitter handle, which is _alpha trades. And then it's also in long form on our Medium right here, which is Alpha Trades Medium. Okay, so definitely keep an eye on Rune as one of the assets. Keep an eye on these assets. And by the way, I may or may not own some of these. So obviously, full disclaimer, like not trying to show my bags. I don't really care if you guys buy into any of them or not, but definitely look into them, right? See if what I'm saying holds credence in terms of any of these assets. I'll tell you right now, though, I definitely don't own any dog or meme coins. Okay. So anyway, that's all I have, folks. We talked about the market overall. We talked about BTC. Here's on a 1 hour basis, BTC kind of struggling at this high right here. So make sure you keep this in mind. As long as we can stay above this area, I think we're good to go for 70, 75, 80K. If we can stay inside this area and we get rejected, then look towards 67, 128 as a retest. Okay. I will say right now, though, I'm not interested at all in shorting. I think even if you do get opportunities of sell pressure coming into the market, I think that might be an opportunity to buy the dip rather than, trying to be a hero and short on the way down. Again, just my perspective, right? That's what I'm doing right now. But yeah, just be very careful, right? The market is going to bring you volatile days like today, where you have a low of 65,888 and then a high of 69,000. I mean, what is that? In the last 2 hours, the market just moved 5%, right? That's a lot of movement. So if you cannot stomach that kind of volatility, not only in BTC, well, altcoins give you that volatility on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so it's just something to be careful about. All right. That's it, folks. Again, make sure you hit the thumbs up if you are interested in joining our premium Advantage community, which is our Discord channel. I provide 2 updates a day in terms of videos. I obviously provide updates within this 5K account channel, which is where I provide, all the trades that I'm potentially taking, clear visibility, transparency, my stops, my take profit, etc. Okay. And then of course we have all these other channels where I discuss a ton of stuff. All right. Hope y'all join. That's all I got for you. Take care, everybody, and cheers.